You guys ever think about how much different it's gonna be in just a couple of years? I mean, how much could really change in a couple of years, right? Seriously. So one thing on my end of the camera is trying to plan where you're a producer, where you're generating not only a lot of the things you need on a yearly basis, but things for the future. Rather than being a consumer is a dependent. A consumer must exchange their time a lot of times for money that then they exchange for goods. And if any of those things break down, either the supply of goods or the availability of the resources, the money, all of a sudden it's checkmate, endgame, you lose. I don't like that. So what I've decided to do is to make sure to be generating things. And as I contemplate it, I even told one of my neighbors that in just a couple of years, I might not even garden anymore. Now, of course, growing good, tasty, healthy food is very important, but I posed it as some food for thought for them because they're just getting into gardening now. We've been doing it a number of years, not like decades or anything, but the point that I wanted to get across is that I save my own seeds. Guys, last year I tried 6 different types of pea seeds. I think it was a minimum of 6, somewhere between 6 and 8. I picked the best couple of them and I saved seeds for those, and then I planted like crazy this year. This year I only had 3 varieties. There was one that was a good like snap pea where you eat the full pod. There was one that was a good garden pea or English pea where you gotta shell them. And then there was the purple king tut pea just because I got some seeds for them. They were new, I wanted to try them out. This is just the amount of seeds that I saved from the garden peas. So these are the ones you gotta shell. This is just from that one type of pea that I saved in my property. Now pea seeds are gonna be good for, it's always best if you plant them the next year, but you can keep these for 2 to 5 years if you store them in the right environment. A couple of things that pose threats to seeds are going to be heat, moisture, and sunlight. So you keep them somewhere that's cool, dry, and dark. A lot of times a root cellar works pretty good if you've got them sealed up inside jars. Some people even like put them inside a jar and then freeze them and things like that. Or I've known some people who put them in the fridge. Pretty much if you can keep them dry, you can keep them cool, and you can keep them dark, you're gonna get better longevity. Even some things like cucumbers you can save for up to like, I think 10 years or more. So when I was discussing with my neighbor, the point that I had is because I save my own seeds and nobody else does, what happens if something breaks down in the supply chain? What happens if all of a sudden seeds are no longer available, or as we saw earlier a lot of places, some government official somewhere says you don't need them anymore. They are now non-essential. You are not allowed to buy them even though they're sitting on the shelf. To me, watch out for those officials. Don't ever support them in any way again. Move on to somebody who's got a little better view of reality and just bypass as much of that as you possibly can. So my point was, let's say I've got a bunch of neighbors who are trying to grow their own food, nobody can get seeds, and I got piles. Now I wouldn't really do this, but my point was, well, what if I just give you seeds for free? I'm not gonna charge you, but what if I just give you seeds for free, but you bring me back 15% of your harvest? How many times would I have to do that before I didn't need to garden at all? Before I would just have people dumping produce on my lap like crazy because I save seeds. Now it's not a very good long-term plan because without growing my own stuff to actually generate more seeds, I wouldn't be able to do that for more than a year or two. But the point is kind of there. So as we look around this garden, as we think about these things, you know, there is a lot of stuff that just does its own thing, guys. If you're not familiar with seed saving, I think 100% you need to be. I think you need to get familiar with it, and the faster, the sooner the better. So much of this stuff too, every year we get volunteer Malabar spinach, okay? This wall of green that I have not planted for 2 years. Do you see this thing? This feeds my family more than we can handle every year. When people come over, a lot of times we just tell them, hey, pick as much as you want. You know, grab some of these big healthy leaves. Take them home with you. Eat them raw. Add them to soup, add them to stir fry. We actually chop them up and pickle them too. Or no, chop them up and freeze them too. And that works really well for us. These tomatoes, those are volunteer plants. We didn't plant those. There's all sorts of carrots and dill and toothache plants and potatoes. I just dug a nice big pile of volunteer potatoes out of one of my raised beds just the other day. And that was good because we didn't have many potatoes. So it gave us something to use that we could really enjoy. And it was just because we kind of continually over-generate things. A lot of the catnip, the basil, these different things. Because we let some of our plants go to seed, okay? Like these snake gourds here. Snake gourds are amazing. I bought seeds for them once. Since I bought seeds for them once, I've grown them, I think, 4 or 5 years now. And there are people all over this country growing snake gourds now. And there's a lot of things that are called snake gourds, so don't get hung up on the fact I call this snake gourds and somebody else may call something else snake gourd. These are technically the Kakinda competition strain edible gourds from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. It's easier for me to say snake gourds. But there's people all over growing these now, and people who love them because we generate seeds. That's why I don't eat everyone. Same thing here. Look at these guys. This is a big old Chinese red noodle bean. That's much longer than you'd ever want it for eating, but it gets dried up and it fully forms all those seeds, so I've got them for next year. Right across from me here is where I was saving seeds for carrots. Now I have a whole bunch of babies here just from the ones I didn't get collected. You know, as I'm harvesting the seeds, some are falling to the ground. These are packed in here pretty tight, but we're gonna get a free volunteer harvest of carrots just because we let them go to seed. Guys, there's a lot of helpful videos out there on how to save seeds. We've got a number of them ourselves. It's something we're passionate about because we want to be free people. We want to be people that does not need to die an unnecessary, unavoidable death just because we're dependent. We have a stewardship of this land right now. It can be used to generate food for my family. And we're going to try very, very hard to do everything we can to be able to ensure that for the future. Here's another example where we were saving dill. Okay, these big tall plants here were dill. There's still a couple seeds up here, but we got a bunch of them. People were begging us to open up our Etsy shop again, start selling seeds again. We're filling it up with the things we got. A lot more are coming. Dill is one of the ones that are available, but when I came out here to harvest the dill, look at that. I missed all that. So now we're pickling snake gourds and using them as a cucumber substitute. I've also got cucumbers, plants that are starting right now that hopefully will still give us something this year. But then this dill can get added to that. And that's one of the reasons that I also highly recommend succession sowing to people. Plant things more than once. Plant them a couple times throughout the year so they keep coming in. In fact, that's what these guys are doing. These here are going to be some Chinese red noodle beans. They have not even started producing yet. They're just getting their first flowers right now. But some of the plants are pretty much done for the year almost. They're still cranking them out. They're still generating a lot of seeds. But, you know, these guys here will be producing the edible ones once the other ones kind of get past that point. So, obviously, I'm a little excited. I'm a little passionate about this. I want to be inspiring others just to do something that makes sense. For me, I'd rather spend 2 hours in this garden generating some food for my family than leave my family for 1 hour to earn money to buy some. Okay? That's a better use of my time, in my opinion. But everyone's free to do as they see fit. Not everyone's going to want to live someplace like this. Not everyone's going to want to have this much of an area devoted to garden. Look at those like 12-foot tall sunchokes over there. Last year, out of just that one little patch, we got over 100 pounds of tubers. Put a couple back in the ground. That's what we got those for, and we had the rest to share and to eat. The main purpose of this is to get you guys to think and consider that plants have a life cycle. Just like if no people in this present day and age reproduce and leave offspring for the next generation, there will be no next generation. It's the same thing with plants. They have a built-in kind of program of how their life cycle goes. The seed eventually reaches the point it can germinate, it grows up, root goes down, stem comes up, leaves form, flowers get pollinated, the fruit or the vegetable or whatever it is forms, and then the seed comes, and that seed is for the next generation. So many of these plants want to do it on their own anyway. I don't care if it's sorghum, tamarillos, trifoliate citrus, you know, so many of these create seeds that you can use, and then a lot of them reproduce other ways, like the sunchokes, like the Egyptian walking onions, Like, I forget. There's other guys up in here that'll reproduce other ways. Oh yeah, all right, the strawberries. They'll just keep making more and more and more plants. Now is the time to learn a little bit about it. And as I said, you know, am I really going to stop gardening? No, but I potentially could. And just have others reap a harvest with the provision that we've made for the future in the seed supply that we have. Even those garden peas, those are listed right now in our Etsy shop. We've got other ones we plan on listing. Just a quick rundown of some of the ones that are available will be dill, the mini bell peppers, there's Chinese red noodle beans. I think snake gourds are sold out for the minute, but you can see I got some dried ones hanging. I also have a friend who is saving extra ones for seeds for us that we gave a bunch of free seeds to, so that's cool too. Give some free seeds away. Family gets a bunch of food. They give me a bunch of seeds back. That's awesome. It works so well for so many people. Shalom makers appreciate that. And we've been throwing in passion fruit or Malabar spinach as a bonus lately. If you guys have ordered from us previously and you got one of those, leave a comment when you order and let me know what you got last time so I can give you something different if you order again. Because I don't just want to give you some free passion fruit seeds, have you order again later when we get some other stuff like the bitter melons listed or something like that, and then send you passion fruit seeds again. I want to put something else into your hand that you can put into your soil, that you can grow something else for your family. So if you save seeds, it may get to the point where you don't even need to garden if you just let others do it for you. But ultimately, I think there's a joy and just even a peace in the security. We never reap the entire harvest from here, and it's not just because we save seeds, it's because the plants that we already have produce so much that a lot of times we couldn't handle it. I still got a Malabar spinach here. We've tried, and we've picked and picked and picked and picked and picked at that wall right there, and we haven't made it through. And we've every year we've had them. I planted them once on this property 3 years ago, haven't needed to plant them since. Let them go to seed, let them do their own thing, and reap that benefit for years to come. Hope you guys appreciate this video. Hope you enjoyed that little part about the future. Those were actually an old set of dreadlocks I had that I still had laying around. Just cut the hair and it's sitting in some bin somewhere. I thought that'd be fun just to kind of, what's it going to be like in the future? But love you guys, appreciate you guys. If you think anyone will get a kick out of this video or that there's any beneficial information in it, please feel free to share it with others. Feel free to like it. If you're not a subscriber already and you want more content from us, please hit that bell notification, hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep cranking stuff out as long as you guys keep enjoying it. See you next time. Pop out.